Hey guys, it's SailorturntGamer here, and welcome to another episode of Days of Dauntless. Today, this episode of Days of Dauntless, we will be discussing my initial impressions on the Ostian Repeaters. I have been streaming. Right now we are live at twitch.tv/SailorturntGamer, and I have been streaming for over 12 hours using the Ostian Repeaters. And there are a lot of things that I find that I like about the weapons. There is only one thing that I wish would be added to the weapon, and there's not a lot of things that I don't like about the weapon. So we're going to talk about that today as we're going through to hunt this Shrike. And with that being said, let's get into the weapon right now. So once we actually get a little bit closer to Shrike, we'll be able to show you some of the combat that's involved in it. But it is not an it is an auto fire, but it is not automatic. It's one shot at a time. You have 12 shots. So just imagine 6 shots in each gun, to 12 shots total. That's an easy way to remember that number when it comes down to that. So we're going to launch our flare, then we're going to get into the combat that I'm discussing. So you have your weapons out. You can't run, but you can roll. Your shots do not require stamina. So that's really awesome that it doesn't require stamina. So all of your stamina is dedicated to rolling. So if you have dodge reduction, you can actually roll a lot. You actually have 2 abilities as you look up right under my health bar. I have an X and a Y ability. I play on PC using a controller, so bear with me on that. With your Y ability, it's actually a buff. Your initial is a buff, right? So boom, you take the buff and you get an attack speed and you get a movement speed bonus. Very noticeable. I'm going to use this consistently, and when the buff actually runs out, you're going to see the normal speed that you actually have. So this is the normal speed. That was that buff speed. What's going on? I can't actually respond to the followers right now because I'm in the middle of actually recording something. What you also have, I will respond to that in a second. We have your X ability, which is a burst fire ability. So here is the burst fire ability. Boom, does big damage. That's what you can expect normally with the weapon. But the thing that really makes the weapon great and puts it at another level is that you have your standard abilities, which I just showed you, and then you have your empowered abilities. How do you get those empowered abilities? Well, all you have to do is reload your weapon, but close range. Why close range? Because the closer you are to the behemoth, the more damage you're going to do. So once you have your empowering bonus, which I will move a lot closer to get the bonus again, you'll be able to see some of the things that you can do. It does change, it does modify the 2 abilities that you have. So we're going to get a little closer. We got our reload. There's our empowering bonus. How do you know? Because at the top of your ability bar, you can see that it changes. I'm not going to use the ability, and you see that it's all blue, the blue lines all wavy, and then it goes back to normal. Okay, that's how you know that you have your empowering buff. Now that's where I want to go into saying this is what I would like to change. I would like for there to be your standard notification of a cooldown timer when you do have the weapon. That's something that I really wish needs to be changed and added to the game. It makes it a lot easier to tell if you have your empowering status. Let's check out these empowering abilities right now. So if we go over, and we got to get our empowering reload now. So we got to get closer to them, get as close as we can. We got our empowering reload. So you have your buff, which now buffs the whole team. Fantastic. And then you have your blast, which is now it's now a tri-burst, which allows you to do a lot more damage. So now this class has become a lot more diverse, which is what I really do like, because you not only do you have your lantern ability, boom, you have your throwable item ability, which is your weapon buff for the whole team, by the way, when it's empowered. And you also have your tri-burst, boom, which does not interrupt apparently, but you do have your tri-burst, which is really great as well. And what does that pair to? It pairs to you being really deadly, not only from afar, but again, the closer you are to the behemoth, the more damage you're doing. So it also puts you in a situation where you are really deadly up close. It's all about moving around. It's all about buffing your teammates, and there are modifications to that throwable ability. Once we get back to Ramsgate, I'm going to discuss the craftable pieces for the gear, and you guys can get a little sneak peek on what's in store. And I'll talk about what I think about the initial impressions of the upgrade process, because the upgrade process is very clever. It's gonna keep you busy for a long time, guys. So if you guys have a lot of materials, you're still going to be busy. And if you guys don't have a lot of materials, you're going to be even busier. Don't worry, guys. This weapon is something that any player can achieve. Right from the start of the game, you can achieve this weapon, and this can be something that you main, and you can use this all the way up until end game, or this can be something that you just acquire, and as you're using other weapons that you like to do, you can upgrade this weapon occasionally. So we're going to talk about the upgrade process once we get back to Ramsgate. In the meantime, you guys enjoy the gameplay, enjoy the takedown of this strike. This is what I really like. So you have that team buff. So your entire team's getting that movement speed bonus. Your entire team is getting that attack speed bonus. So it's really, really nice when you're in groups. It really, really works well for the support role. And if you get that empowering buff, if you ever get that empowering buff, you're gonna get that tri-burst, which does so much more damage than your single burst. Here's your single burst. Boom. That's just one shot, and that did 104, 104. We'll see if we can get a good look at how much damage it actually does. That's what we're going to see if we can do. We're going to see if we can get a good look at how much damage it actually does when it works. And the synergy with your lanterns are amazing. Depending on the lanterns that you have, you can really get some great synergetic bonuses on your abilities. It's a really, really well crafted class. Phoenix Labs definitely took their time developing this new playstyle, this new weapon, this new class, and I can't say that I'm thoroughly impressed. I'm thoroughly impressed. It's been 12 hours, and like I said, guys, I cannot put this weapon down. I'm still as excited as I was when I first started. Now, what I can say that I do like about the weapon as well is that just because you can be in a Slayer party of 4 doesn't necessarily mean that it's the most optimal to run 4 Ostian Repeaters. I believe the most optimal way to run this is with a sword, an axe, a war pike, because the war pike did get buffed, and we will be doing an initial impressions video of that in the future, so stay tuned, guys. And as well as this weapon, because it is a really, really great support weapon. So I think right now the weapon is fresh, and all throughout my 12 hours of play, a lot of people have been using the weapon. So I think a lot of the hunts are taking a lot longer than what is probably what's going to be when the norm happens. But I do like that you don't have to feel like you need to use the weapon in order to succeed, because all of the other weapons are in a great state, and the weapons are steadily improving as well. So that's something that's really, really fantastic. And I really do, you can tell when you fight certain behemoths, you can tell when you're out, when you shouldn't be using the weapon. That's great. And I really, really like that Phoenix Labs created the behemoths and put the weapon in a place to where no one has to feel like it has to be used at all times. You can be in a party and no one could be using this weapon, and I think that's something that you can expect in the future. I think you can expect to be in a party where no one's even using this weapon, because it's not like it's mandatory to use, but I think this weapon does have a lot of potential. I think it has a really, really high ceiling as far as the usability. I think that with the buffs that are in place, the fact that they have those in place opens the door up for many, many, many more buffs that can be set in place. Now, they do have other buffs that exist in the game that they already have right now that I've discovered. And again, guys, once we get back to Ramsgate, we're going to walk over to the quest giver, which is also the quest giver for the grenades, and he takes you through some of the code shot stuff. It's Admiral's Eye. So we're going to walk over there to that guy. We're going to look at the things that he has to do for the weapon crafting, because we don't have to go to the blacksmith. Not at all. Not at all about the quest train. It's not about him. It's about Admiral. And we go there. We're going to talk to him. We're going to see some of the cool stuff that he has, because it really does open up the game to a variety of support tactics that I think are really, really going to come into play a lot later, especially after they start adding more behemoths or adding more varieties of behemoths, or just general group team play. I think that there's so much more potential with this weapon, and I think that it's really, really, really in a great state right now. I think that having this weapon in the game really does change it a lot. So again, guys, if you guys are finding my channel for the first time and you are somewhat intrigued at all by the weapon, be sure to hop in. This is a free-to-play game. It's fantastic. The link in the description box below. As far as the official website for Dauntless is Play Dauntless, and you definitely can find that below, like I was just saying. We're gonna see how much damage we can actually get on his guy. We're gonna see how many empowering we can do. I love that they kind of force you, the player, in a way, by offering you more damage, by offering you more abilities. They force you to get down and dirty and get up close. It's not just about shooting your shot far away. It's about getting in close. It's about getting dirty with it. Boom! It's about that triple damage. It's about those buffs. Oh, they got some other stuff too, guys. I cannot wait to show you once we get back to Ramsgate. And this is a thing. This is one of the things that I like. So me and Ravi are both using the Ostian Repeaters right now. But if we had one person with a sword, we definitely could do more damage. If he had a war pipe, we definitely could do a little bit more damage, because it's as powerful as this weapon is and as fun as this weapon is, it's not necessarily the most efficient thing to do when you're running them consistently in groups, at least for my initial impressions. And that's something that I really do like, because again, I know I want to feel forced to use a weapon just because you feel like you don't have another choice. And he is taking off again. He is taking off again, guys. He's taking off again. So that's something that, those are a lot of the things that I really do like. Again, the only thing that I can think of that I have noticed in my 12 hours of play with the weapon that I feel like needs to be changed, it's just a general notice, a better notice of your empowering buff. Now, throughout consistently using the weapon, I know when I have the buff most of the time, and I know when I don't have the buff. But that's over a lot of play. I think it would be a lot better, especially for newer players, to know when they didn't have the buff or when they did have the buff. So I really would like to see that to be changed, because to look up at that menu, it does take you out a little bit, but those squares that are up right now are so obvious that you definitely know 100% of the time when you don't have it. So this is the thing I like. The mobility is really nice, because you don't have to use any of your stamina attacking. You can really be mobile when it comes. You can really be mobile when it comes to using the weapon. It is really nice. So you guys have been watching. I've been using fire enhanced versions of the repeaters. I'm gonna talk to you guys and show you guys a little bit about the different variations of the weapon, because no, it's not 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or even 2 different versions of the Ostian Repeaters. They actually work a little bit different than that. So I'm excited to get back to Ramsgate to show you guys about the things that they have in store that make this weapon very unique. It constantly keeps you in your inventory, but not in a way where it's annoying, because it's up to you whether or not, if you want to take that advantage, then you can make your changes to the weapon. So it's really up to you on how you want to do that. Once we actually get back, again, I'm going to hop over to the start menu, and the first thing I want to show you is actually our loadout. So let's take a look at our loadout, which is here, and we're going to go to our Ostian Repeaters. And then once we click on our Ostian Repeaters, you have the ability to actually customize the weapon. So if we click on customize, here is a full chart of the customizable repeaters. So the repeaters actually work in parts, as you see, and the total sum of the individual parts is what makes the overall power of the weapon. So like I said, we're going to go over to Admiral's Eye, and then we're going to look at the equipment that's there, because the thing that he does is what really makes the grind to be able to have your weapons in a good state. So let's go over to the Admiral. So if you look at the repeater crafting, which we're here now, we have so many columns. It's very similar to your armor and very similar to your weapons. But what makes this different, again, is the grind. It's all about the grind here. So if you look, I got my standard barrel maxed out, but they have multiple barrels, and we're gonna go back to our customization so you guys can get a look of how that feels and how that works. So we have multiple barrels that are here. You have your standards, your stocks, your frost, your blaze, and then you have advanced versions of the barrels as well, because again, standard maxes out at 100 power. Then you have your advanced version. Not sure when that maxes out yet, not there yet, but it really does force you to grind. And if you take a big chunk here, you need 24 weapon arcanite in order to actually upgrade the weapon. That is a lot of weapon arcanite. So if you guys haven't got a chance to check out the latest patch yet, the 0.5.7, be sure to save up your Arcanite. If you're new, don't worry, you got plenty of time to play the game. You got plenty of time to upgrade your weapon. You could use this weapon throughout your playthrough and upgrade it as you can, or you can use any other one of the other 5 weapons that are all phenomenal, and you can upgrade this weapon throughout playing the game. So you don't have to worry about not having enough Arcanite, because you will. You definitely will. So as we look, there's advanced versions of your barrels. Each one of your barrels gives you another variety to elemental damage, which is great. And then of course you have your standards. We look over to our grips. You have 2 different kind of grips that I currently have access to based off of my play. You have your captain's grips. You have an advanced version of that, exactly the same. The captain's grip is what we were just using within that last hunt, which gives us that 15% increased damage and that 12% attack speed. So you guys saw that. It is amazing, as well as that empower, which buffs it all, gives that buff to all slayers. Then you have your saboteur's grip, which I did not use that, but your saboteur's grip actually is a mine. So instead of having that throwable buff, you actually have a mine that goes out that does 600 damage to the first behemoth that touches it. And if you are empowered, that's reloading up close again, you have 800 damage, and you can interrupt behemoths. It's fantastic. I love using it against Nezaga. I love using it to destroy the spikes that he puts down to the ground. It is amazing. It's really, really good at that. I love the saboteur's grips. And again, all of these parts you can upgrade. All of these parts you can utilize to customize your repeater, because you can make it your repeater. You can customize it once and never touch it again if that's what you want to do, or you can continually hop back into that customization wheel, and you can go from a fire buff to a normalized buff to a shock buff to an ice buff. It's up to you. It's your repeater. So let's hop over to our chambers. I only have one type of chamber, and I have the standard version and the advanced version. As you can tell, again, your standard versions, they maxed out at 100 power. But these are going to continually rise to a level that I'm not sure yet. And mine is at 123 total power right now. But if you look again, at this current stage, I need 40 charged weapon Arcanite in order to upgrade this. That is a lot of charged Arcanite. So be sure to save all of your materials for these weapons if this is something that you really want to dive into. Lastly, we have our prisms. Prisms is something that you get access to a lot later. Not necessarily initially when using the weapon, but a lot later as you're going through the quest chains, you're going to get access to prisms. Prisms are really, really cool. I only have one of them right now, which is gives me the bonus to gain 15% increased movement speed when I have 4 or less ammo. And that's really, really good, because again, this weapon is all about closing the gap. It's all about getting close to the behemoth and getting your empowering buff in order to make your abilities stronger and better or faster. It's all about that. So being able to have that movement speed activate when you have 4 or less ammo, it's really, really great for going in and doing your reload and you're rolling out, because all of your stamina again is used for rolling, used for dodge rolling. So you can move in with your movement speed, double roll out, get back to your safe point, go on with your abilities, go on with your buffs, go on with your mines. It's really, really great. And then we have our sharpshooter's prison, and you deal 5 increased damage when attacking the same part multiple times. It stacks up to 5 times. So that means you can deal 25 increased damage to your behemoth if you're focusing on that part. And depending on your team composition, this is where team composition really, really comes into play, because depending on your team composition, you can really start to synergize, and you can be the one to do specific part based damage, and your sword dealer, your axe dealer can chop that part right off. I love the potential within this, because based off of what we have right now, there's so many more prisms that they could add to the game. Because if we take a look at this sharpshooter prism right here, it's based on Deadeye Close Shot, and if I look at our Windrunner, it's actually based on the Bluffeye Embermane. So that's 2 behemoths. There are over 15 behemoths in the game, so they could technically add up to 13, at least 13 more prisms to the game to modify the way the weapon plays. It is phenomenal, like the potential that is in this weapon. I'm sure they got some other things coming down the pipeline. Based off of my initial impressions, I'm incredibly excited for the weapon, and I cannot wait to get more play from the weapon. This has been my initial impressions of the weapon based off of my 12 hours of playing live. If you guys do want to catch me live, you can catch me on Twitch TV/SailorturntGamer. I am live every single day. My official stream time is at 5, but if you come through and you follow, or if you come through and I'm always on all the time. So I appreciate you guys for checking out this video, And if you guys like any of my content, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that sub button. Join our fleet. And this sailor will be out in the open ocean. I'll see you guys in the next video. Or you guys can catch me live. I am SailorturntGamer. You guys have a good day.